Exactly 11 chapters later, the double-digit curse seems to have returned to Boruto, and this time the character who is getting sealed, devoured or killed has been there from the very early days of the franchise. I'm talking about Konohamaru and how there are numerous hints for his role to be over in the story. First off, we have this tradition of the writers to get rid of a character on a double-digit chapter. As you can look at this chart, they have been wiping out somebody from the plot whenever the chapter number has two identical digits. First it was Momoshiki around chapter 10 and 11. Then on chapter 22 we had Ao. Naruto vs Delta fight ended with the Cyborg's ultimate defeat in chapter 33. Thanks to Amado she was revived, but only 11 chapters later she was again put to sleep. Chapter 55 concluded with the death of Kurama, followed by the death of Boruto in chapter 66. The sealing of Naruto happened in chapter 77, and the massacre of some Leaf Shinobis took place in chapter 88. So going by this chronology, we are now at chapter 99, and looking at how he was trapped in a dangerous situation last time, we can assume that this will be the end of Konohamaru Sarutobi. But since this is True Blue Vortex, I don't think the first major death would be so straightforward without any complexities involved. There are some hints hidden within this cover art which make me feel like it will be more than a simple killing of a character. I will get to that in a moment, but first let's understand the thought process of the writers when it comes to getting rid of their characters in Boruto. Since it's Kishimoto who is currently writing the script of the story, I think the possibility of a full-fledged death is far from reality. The France interview revealed that Kishimoto's original draft had planned the death of an important character, but as soon as Kishimoto took the hold of the story, a lot of things changed. The roles of some characters were renewed, and some new ones were introduced as well. All in all, Kishimoto tried to expand the verse without disappointing the fandom with major deaths. Even in True Blue Vortex, he revitalized Inogen with the help of Himawari. The fate of the Clawgrind victims wasn't seized, as he formulated a way to bring them back. So in one way or another, he doesn't like to play with the emotions of fans when it comes to deciding the ultimate fate of a character. Cause if that was the case, then the death of Naruto would have made more sense than simply sealing him. Maybe the huge lie that Kawaki made Aida announce was supposed to be a reality in Kishimoto's vision. But Kishimoto seems to know that how bad it would be to kill the OG main character, as it will disconnect everyone who spent a good portion of their life watching this series. So there is still some hope for Konohamaru's character, and to understand this better, let's move on to the cover page, which is full of cryptic hints. First off, we have the title, which says Konohamaru-chan or simply Dear Konohamaru. It's most likely a reference made about a flashback sequence of Konohamaru and Moegi, a phrase acting as a reminder of the bond that both of them used to share. In chapter 18, Konohamaru tells Masuri to not call him that, as there is only one person who used to call him by that name. The interaction heats up with Masuri figuring out he's talking about Moegi. He then questioned about the relationship that he shares with her, provoking Masuri into attacking him. While the cliffhanger may have made it seem like it's the end of Konohamaru, a good look at the cover page reveals the phrase "In sleep the shadows yearn," and I see it as a clue to how the fate of Naruto's disciple will unfold. If you have been watching my channel from a long time, you surely remember how I highlighted that Konohamaru's fate is on a countdown, all because of one crucial reason. He's the only Shinju prey who can show us what happens when these living god trees devour their instinctual target. All the other targets have a strong guardian nearby, and they are also vital to the plot, so there is no chance for them to bid a farewell to us. However, when it comes to Konohamaru, he lacks a strong protector, and with his decision to confront Masuri alone, I think everything is headed to a very dark future for him. The reason I think so is because the writers need to show us the phenomenon, which takes place after Shinju feeds on their prey. Do they become more powerful, a new transformation, or an entirely new being? All of these questions will be answered once Masuri succeeds at devouring Konohamaru, and the fact that this chapter did not reveal any sneak peek panel as well, I think it's all because something huge is on its way. But will it be the end of Konohamaru? Well, this brings us back to the text on the chapter cover. It says, "In sleep the shadows yearn," and if you think about it, just like how the other Clawgrind victims are subjected to a deep sleep while their Shinju avatars are making moves, it could be that the praise of their instinctual will would also face the same fate. So maybe before being put to the deep sleep, he would have a flashback of his childhood moments with Moegi, or maybe the sleep itself would be like a dreamy state full of visions from the past. Both the scenarios could affect the character on an emotional level, making him go through some hidden emotions that he never expected to face at first place. Well, that was just one of the many possibilities for what's about to go down between both of them. The same quote could even be interpreted as Moegi is sleeping within the deep conscience of Masuri, and after some reminders and talk no jutsu, Konohamaru could awaken her true state, helping her take over the body of the Shinju. As said by Shikamaru in chapter 17, the Shinjus are like a newborn wild beast who only rely rely on their instincts while making decisions. But what would happen if these creatures are provoked enough to understand the origins of their consciousness? Just like how Hidari questioned his fate to Jura in an older chapter, the same could happen with Masuri but on a far higher level. Konohamaru's impact on her mental state could be so vast that she might be able to unveil her true identity, the one which had been hidden within the shadows ever since her true self was sent to a state of deep sleep. One of the reasons for this optimistic theory holding a chance to come true has something to do with Koji's tactical decision to not let Boruto help any of them. Either he is gambling with the life and fate of everyone who is not a singularity, or it could be that his master script guarantees little to no casualties. The whole Shinobi is going to the Sand Village to obtain the Soul Thorn plot was something that did not happen in any of the possible futures. It's a possibility that Kashin Koji constructed himself, and now we are just seeing its aftermath in the story, which is also likely fueled by his power of future sight as well. In a nutshell, he's trying to manifest a future which was only possible with the present circumstances. What if he's trying to play with the odds, just to witness the redemption of the Shinjus by the hands of their own targets? It's a possibility that I have discussed before while covering the case of Sarada and Hidari. Since the Shinju are based off the characters who are really close to their instinctual targets, it could be that they will act as a medium to their redemption as well, but only under the right circumstances. Kashin Koji might have wanted to bring Masuri and Konohamaru alone in order for them to have a difficult conversation which would help the true self of the Shinju to emerge from the shadows. And with this formula, the Shinobis would have a completely different strategy to make their enemies switch sides. I'm more inclined to seeing a temporary exit of Konohamaru from the plot, which leads to him facing the same fate as Naruto, the reasons being the double-digit curse, as well as the way they are setting up the aftermath of Shinju Devour. I low-key want Konohamaru to take the W in this chapter, likely by killing Masuri or obtaining the Thorn Soul Bulb without putting himself in trouble. It would be an interesting plot twist as it surpasses the expectations of the readers and also gets Konohamaru his lost respect back. There's something more that I would like to add about this chapter. If a major death happens right now, it would only add some shock value to the chapter rather than improving the narrative in any way. Think of it this way: if Konohamaru was secretly working with Boruto and had a significantly better role to his name, let's say as important as Shikamaru, then his passing would have been more impactful, as losing a secret ally who's working within the enemy territory would have been a huge blow to Boruto. But since Konohamaru is a very less significant character as of now, his removal from the story won't do much good to the overall plot progression. Things would have been different if his development was similar to Kakashi from the original story. The potential of his character was indeed immense, considering the possibility of using a monkey sage mode to deal with the things in a non-brutal manner, opposite to what Shikamaru plans to do. But since the story at present doesn't demand anything like that from him, or let's be honest, he won't be able to catch up with the overpowered foes, as well as the tricky situations. So I think the writers would simply use him to explain the post-Shinju feeding phenomenon. Surely there are ways for Konohamaru to get saved as well, like if Kawaki appears with his new attack form after negotiating with Amado, or let's say Boruto simply disobeys Koji and joins the battle. But there is a dilemma in that as well. It's not possible for Boruto to be at two places at once, and Koji would likely not reveal how bad the situation is getting. So if by chance he appears to save Sarada and the others, Konohamaru will still get devoured, marking an end to his role in the story. By this we can conclude that the likelihood of his farewell is way too high at this point. Let me know in the comments how you think the fate of this character is going to play out. Also check out these videos for more amazing stuff. I will see you next time.